So sometimes I feel like there's only like a handful, if that, of honest people in the LWord Generation Q. I mean, it's pretty sad. Hi guys, my name is Maria Park and this is Approach the Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing episode 6 entitled Loose Ends of the LWord Generation Q. Oh, this episode. This one's probably one of the best so far, except for a few things. I'm going to start off with my newbies to oldies, so hopefully I'll get them right in order. Micah was no show. I don't know what it is about Micah. I actually am very disappointed by it. I kind of feel like if Micah is not having a storyline that coincides with Jose, then Micah has no reason to be there, which it makes no sense because Sophie is friends with Micah and Finley, and all of them live in the same apartment building. Well, Finley doesn't. Right now, Finley's living with Shane. But they're always in the apartment. So I don't know why Micah is not around when Sophie's around. So it's very frustrating. Now, to be fair, there is a lot of trans representation in the LWord, even though technically a few of them are not plain trans. Like I told you last week that Tessa's actress, who I love in the Netflix series Sense8, is a trans female. We just learned that the campaign manager for Bet is a trans male. So yeah, I know that there are a lot of trans representation, but Micah is a main character, and I mean, it's really frustrating. We have 2 episodes left. Where's Micah? I mean, there has to be more to Micah than Jose. I'm just saying. So, okay, moving on. I'm going to start with Danny. Danny is making me angry. Danny is treating Sophie like crap. It is pretty pathetic. Like, she has her head so far up Bet's butt right now. It's ridiculous. She even went so far as the campaign manager who basically came out as trans and said that the reason that he was working with Bet in general was, you know, he felt that she was the closest they were ever going to get LGBT-wise to being able to be in leadership roles someday and to have a better world for LGBT people. And she said, Danny told him, well, you know, Bet is inspiring and is actually the only person who's ever inspired me. Not her fiance at home, Bet Porter. So I thought something was weird last week. I mean, I've really been feeling it since the first episode, but yeah, I think Danny's into Bet. And that is a mess. And poor Sophie. I feel so bad for Sophie because she's just wanting this woman who asked her to marry her to talk to her. It's not like she's saying, give up your career, give up. No, just share what you're thinking with me. And Danny goes home and says, I don't really have anything to say. But I mean, last episode, she basically broke down and told Bet all about how she hated her father and how he doesn't understand. Nothing to her fiance about this, but to Bet. She confides in Bet and not the woman she's supposed to spend the rest of her life with. So yeah, I don't think they're going to make it down the aisle. There are 2 episodes left. I don't think it's going to happen. So yeah. And an after effect of this is that now Sophie is being pushed more into the arms of her best friend Finley, which I really hope doesn't happen because Finley needs to work out her stuff. But there was kind of a mutual kind of attract. They almost kissed on the dance floor. Now they were both extremely drunk, but they almost kissed. I don't want that to happen, but Danny is messing up big time. So yeah, Danny's on my poop list this week. Finley actually is being a lot more honest than most of the characters in this series because she even says, I'm messing stuff up. I'm worried about my future. I don't know if I'm going to get my crap together. Am I damaged? How do I have a good life? You know, she's really concerned about this stuff. So Finley, there's a lot of drama coming from Finley. We learned that her mother is supposedly hot and cold, like Danny. And I think that if anything happened with the family, more than likely it started with the mother. So I think that's who she has the most drama with. But like I said, we don't know the whole story. I just know something's going on in that family. But Finley is trying to get her act together. And, you know, the first thing that happened is she woke up with Tess and she's like, oh, I'm parched. And she went and got mimosas and she tried to give Tess one. And Tess was like, oh, I got to get to a meeting. She checked her phone and there was a text message from her sponsor. I think her name was Carol. And so she's regretting it already. And then Shane walks in and Shane's like, you know, this is a fireable offense. And of course, in my mind, I'm like, so is screwing her girlfriend. But, you know, that's which led her to drink in the first place. But, you know, on the other hand, Tess is a grown woman, and even though she's an addict, and that can be very hard, she made the choice to have alcohol. So Shane kind of saw it, though. I think that guilt saved her this time. But by the end of the episode, she was drinking again. And I feel I feel bad for Tess too. Tess is that whole thing is a train wreck. So yeah. So Tess isn't doing well. So now we're going on to Angie. Angie's adorable. Angie got her driver's license, but more importantly, she had this little moment with Shane and Kiara where they're talking about what it's like, or how you know you're in love for the first time. And they kind of encourage her to go and confess to Jordy, and she does. What was so cute about that scene is how motherly like Shane was being. She's like, if Jordy doesn't say that she loves her back, then I'm going to call Jordy's mother. I'm like, oh my God. And then, Kiara's like, well, this is what I want. I want this. And after it goes well for Angie, Jordy says she loves Angie back. So they share their first ever kiss, which is technically Angie's first ever kiss. I'm not sure about Jordy. They're all celebrating, and Shane looks over at Kiara and says, I'm in, meaning she's in to take care of the baby too. I know Shane is scared. Shane has had a very horrible childhood. I mean, the upbringing that Shane had is not natural in any way or scope of the imagination. So I get why she is so hesitant to have a baby that's completely influenced by her, because she would be the other parent. This would basically be Bet and T again. It scares the crap out of her. So I do see that. But yeah, she's in, so we should be seeing her. I don't know how long this is going to last, because I do still think that Shane has problems with committing to things she's afraid of. Because we saw it with Carmen, and we saw it with Molly, and we continuously see it now in the series, even years later. She's still having the same hang-ups about herself. So it's not that I don't think Shane would be an amazing parent. I don't think Shane thinks she would be an amazing parent, and that is the problem. So moving on. So we're going to go to Nat, Gigi, and Alice. So Alice, first of all, is very upset with Bet and Shane because they both never told her that Bet was still fooling around with Felicity. So she feels offended, especially since she had Bet on her show and was defending her, for the initial accusation of her having an affair in the past. So she's mad at them. And at the same time, she's telling, Nat and Gigi, her new throuple companions, all about it. Well, they basically get into it because Gigi at the restaurant, a waitress comes up and says, I wish my best friends lived in LA. And she's like, well, we're not friends. Well, of course, Nat gets mad. Alice kind of is on the fence because she doesn't want her image to come out as being in a throuple and nobody else knows. And Gigi kind of outed them in the restaurant, and people kind of know who she is, especially when the waitress said, oh, I love your show. She's like, well, crap, But Nat is really upset with Gigi. And Gigi is like, when they're driving, is like honking the horn because she knows it bothers Nat. And I'm telling you people, Nat and Gigi want to be with each other. And Nat is so insistent on telling Alice, I love you, I don't want to lose you, I don't want to mess this up, I have all these feelings, both bad and good. But what she's really telling Alice, and Alice is not getting, is I'm still attracted to my wife. Solely. I have conflicting feelings because part of me still wants to be in that relationship, and the only reason we're not is because she cheated on me. So Alice is setting two ex-wives back together, and she doesn't realize she's the matchmaker in the middle. She thinks everything is just the three of them, and she doesn't get it. So I think Alice is going to be in for a rude awakening, especially in the next episode, and I did see the preview, and it does look that way. So yeah, it's like I told you last week, Alice, I love you, but you're an idiot. So voila. And then one of the biggest revelations of this episode is that Mama T, Tina, came back. And it was actually very cool. So at first, initially, she came back because Angie called her for Bet after the incident last week where Felicity's, whatever their status is, husband, ex-husband, whatever, pushed, Angie down, and Bet pushed him down, and he hit his head on the stairs. And so everyone's like, oh, Bet Porter basically assaulted him, which as a mother, I would have done more than that. Probably stomped up and down on him. Neither here nor there. But Mama T comes back. And so we learn a lot about why they got divorced. It wasn't because anyone cheated. And yeah, she did fall in love with someone else. But Tina was actually leaving because she felt like she was always in the background and taking up too much space in Bet's world. Bet's career always came first, her timeline, because she's a very organized person. And Tina was like, well, who am I? I feel like half a person, and that's why she felt she had to leave. And she told her daughter she wanted her to have two full parents and not a parent and a half. I kind of get it because Bet is a bit of a control freak. So her and Danny parallel. Like them being in a relationship would be horrible because they are the same person, essentially the same person. But yeah, so Tina goes to this whole thing with Bet. She even asked, the way she asked Bet, are you still seeing that woman, was actually, it sounded very jealous. We also learned that Tina did not go to Kit's funeral because she needed space, and that Bet was very, very upset about that and considered her family. And, by the end of the episode, though, they're hugging, and Tina says, I am your family. I love you. And Bet says, I love you too. And then as she's holding Tina, she says, please don't go. And it kind of ends like that. And from the preview next week, it looks like Tina's asking her to dinner, just the two of them. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Yeah, because Tina's in a relationship. So, it's just, nobody is being honest with each other. Like, it's crazy. Danny is not being honest with Sophie. Tess is not being honest. She's drinking again. I don't think Shane is entirely honest with Kiora. I think she's caught up in the moment. I think her fear is going to come back and override. Because in the preview that I saw for episode 7, and yeah, we only have 2 episodes left. That's horrible. She does not look thrilled about hearing the baby's heartbeat for the first time. She looks petrified. So I don't think she's being entirely honest with Kiora about wanting to commit to the baby. I don't know enough about Kiora to know if she's lying or being honest about her feelings, because we've only seen her for two and a half. I want to say the ending scene of the birthday party and then 2 more episodes. She seems cool, but we don't know enough about her to know what her actual intentions are, or if this is her. Maybe she just wants to be with Shane and have this baby. I don't know. So I can't put her on the she's lying pole, but yeah. In Alice's relationship, Nat and Gigi are totally not being honest. They are not being honest. Nat's trying to be honest, but it's not coming out as it should, meaning I'm attracted to my wife more than I'm attracted to you. It's more like, oh, I love you. I don't want anything to happen. I can't lose you, Alice, but like her, and I don't think it's okay because I really want to be with her. And she's not saying it, and it's very obvious that Gigi wants to be back with Nat. So they're not being honest. The whole thing with Bet and Tina, the dance they're doing, they're not being honest. Danny is not being honest at all. She is stringing Sophie along. It is such a weird 180 from the beginning of this series to now. It's like insane. You don't go from happy, basically getting engaged in the first episode pretty much, to not even wanting to be home, leaving at 4 a.m, not telling your partner where you're going, not communicating anything, and then getting angry with them. And I kind of feel like because the dad doesn't like Sophie and looks down on Sophie, that Danny started to look down on Sophie too. And so that out of this whole storyline, the stuff happening with Danny and Sophie is really irritating me. So not happy about what's going on with that. And I'm also not happy that we're not getting Micah. Micah's probably the only, I think Micah is one of the most honest people in the LWord right now, besides Angie, who's young and is kind of finding herself. And kind of Sophie, because Micah just tells it like it is. So it's crazy to me. But this episode was very good. I think it set up a lot of drama to resolve in the next 2 episodes, and I'm really hoping they're able to do that in 2 hours because they've got a lot of storylines. And I know something's going to be open-ended. I know it. We're going to have a cliffhanger. I just hope it's not going to be one that's going to drive me crazy until they release the next episode. But yeah, this episode was cool. So my thoughts. I really want Danny and Sophie to work out. I want Danny to stop whatever the heck she's doing, pining after a woman she can never have, because if Tina says yes, there is no Danny. I'm just saying. I want Finley to be able to get back with Rebecca, or at least meet somebody that can help her get her stuff together. I want Micah to have an actual storyline that doesn't involve another man. I want Bet and Tina to get back together. I do. I really do. I would love to see how that works out years later. Even if it doesn't, I would love to see the journey. I think it would be awesome to see how they change from the first series, original series. I want Alice to wake up about Nat and Gigi. And I really think that she should leave that relationship altogether. I know that there's not going to be another Dana. I actually didn't mind Tasha. Yeah, Tasha could be a butthole at times, but she was, especially at the end. If you remember the end of the series, the last episode, she was committed. I want to know what happened with that. I wish they would say something about what happened between Dana and Tasha, because they haven't. We know what happened to Jenny. We understand that Tina and Beck got divorced, but what in the heck happened to that whole relationship ending, of that original series of Tasha and Dana? Alice, sorry. It's just weird. So, yeah. And then I want to see what happens more with Angie, because it's so cute. She's a little baby gay with Angie and Jordy. I am worried about Jordy. I know Bette does say something in the episode about how she scares her too. There is something about her. I don't know what it is, but there is something about her. But I want to see how that little relationship plays out, because I think it's adorable. And then what's next for Tess, because Tess is full on drinking again. She is not in control. And yes, it is partly, Shane's fault for sleeping with her girlfriend, but at the same time, Tess fell off the wagon and she saw it when she woke up and she went right back to drinking that night. So, yeah. Now, to be fair, if I was an alcoholic and I knew I had problems with alcohol, I probably would not be working in a bar. That's just me. And I realize you got to get money where you got it. That's your experience. You're a bartender. I understand that. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but that's hard. So, but yeah, so those are my thoughts on the L Word. I want to know what you think. Please leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to know who's next on the Nerd Ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. But hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.